going to a more like how this game is gonna go perspective.
Oh, don't ask that because Zach's gonna go crazy in the fucking chat.
Eagles
It's gonna
have
go penalties. That's Zach right
well,
now.
not like that. I'm talking about how the actual game. Like we have the number one defense in the Eagles. The Chiefs are a top 10 defense as well, but the Eagles are also the number one run offense.
It's going to be a long day for them, I think, with Saquon. I think it's going to. I think it's going to be tough for them. Like the running backs in the NFC are no joke, obviously, right? Like, I mean, obviously AFC too. I mean, you get Derrick Henry and Cook, but like Saquon's a little different. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm a homer right now because Saquon's from my hometown. You know, I used to write about the kid when I was, covering high school football when he was playing against those small Lehigh Valley high schools. Saquon's a little different. And if you try to take Saquon away, there's a bunch of wide receivers that he can then throw to. And I think by that time, also Jalen Hurts' knee is going to be in even better shape than what it has been. So I think I don't think it's going to be the easiest day for the Chiefs, man. That's why I said I think that the NFC can win the titles because of the running game that they're bringing to the game. And I think it's going to be a long day. It's going to be they're going to really try and take Saquon away. When you try and do that, they can kind of dink and dunk you, get you down the field. Because I mean, let's think about it. Who are the DBs that are going to cover all these wide receivers? Like, it ain't easy to cover all these wide receivers. And then if you're not getting Saquon the ball just by handing it off to him, you can get it to him out of the backfield. So there's more than one way to get the ball into Saquon's hands, and he can do some damage to your defense.
It's just, to me, Ryan, it looks so predictable. I've seen the Eagles drives, right? Hand it off to Saquon. And then we got to get AJ involved. We got a quick slant to AJ. I mean, how many times have you seen this? This, to me, reminds me of how I wasn't a fan of Oscar De La Hoya or Tom Brady at first. And then at this point, you can't go against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I agree that the Chiefs or that, the offensive line of Philly is incredible. I agree that they have more weapons. I love their defense. I love their young DBs. But I love Andy Reid. I love Spags. I love Karlaftis. I love McDuffie. I think when it comes down to it, that the coaching staff, if I'm picking the coaching staff, I'm got to go with the Chiefs because they've been in this situation. And I feel like, that stupid turnover that Jalen Hurts did when he fumbled, that cost him the game. I feel like they will have something stupid like that. And Chris Jones, man. Chris Jones, I've said it for 2 years. That dude is the defensive player of the year. Other than Aaron Donald, that dude is the most disruptive interior defensive lineman since Aaron Donald. And he's a dog, and he's a leader on that team. You see him going. You see him crying? Did you see him crying? Like that dude, he doesn't. And I said this, and Rafa doesn't agree with it. Chris Jones doesn't get the attention or the credit he deserves because he's on the team with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. That dude is a dog. Chris Jones will be in the Hall of Fame. And he is great. And I hope Philly wins, of course. But if you made me put my mortgage on it, I'm going with the Chiefs.
Well, Tapia, he's calling you out. He said, I got $100 on the Eagles. Put your money where your mouth is. Find me uncut. He's taking your line. He's taking your line.
Come at me, man. Let's cut it up. Find me, Bosco Ed, Tapia, or whoever wants them. I am the president of the Mahomes Hater Club. I just went off on a half-hour spiel how I can't stand the Chiefs, but I would like to think I'm not a moron. And at this point, I can't continue. I can't continue to just hate. I got to appreciate what I've seen, and what I've seen is Andy Reid and this defense and Spags are just, they're too smart, and that's why I'm taking the Chiefs. I got you, Tapia. We'll do this on cut. Find me on cut, man.
Well,
Rafa, how do you think this game goes?
Well, I don't think it's going to go the way Ryan says. Like, you're sitting there saying, and you're talking about all these weapons that they have on the outside and this and that. Dude, this last week was the first time that he was able to get them the ball. And then after the game, in a press conference, he sits there and says, well, I guess they took the straitjacket off. Really? You were horrible passing the ball against the Packers. You were terrible passing the ball against the Rams. Literally terrible. Yeah. Leading up to the game this weekend, and he played the Redskins, a team that wasn't a very good defensive team, realistically.
Why they rushed for 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, no. They did.
Yeah.
They ran the ball, and he passed the ball great. But that was this game. He literally, they took the straitjacket off. No, that's not what it was. You were just so bad the first 2 playoff games. That's what it was. I don't think they're going to be able to do any of that against the Chiefs. For the Chiefs, you have to sit there and say, all we need to do is stop Saquon and let this man beat us. And he outplayed Mahomes last time in the Super Bowl, by the way. And they still lost. I think the Chiefs, like Eddie says, bro, it's Mahomes, it's Spags, it's Andy Reid. It's just their moment always. In these games, it's always them. How could you, if you're betting, how could you ever sit there and bet against Mahomes? It's like so hard. It was like tough to bet against Brady. When Brady got there, did you ever bet against Brady? Because you never thought that he was going to lose. You really didn't. With Mahomes, do you ever really think he's going to lose these games? Whether it's the refs or not? At the end of the game, when he has the ball, do you ever think he's not going to make a play? No. When you see Jalen Hurts with the ball, do you always think he's going to win the game? No, you don't.
Yeah, but nobody needs Jalen Hurts to be Superman. And nobody asks him to.
If you take away Saquon Barkley, you will need him to be Superman. And when you watch that game,
he's been to a Super Bowl without Saquon, though.
Yeah, and lost.
It doesn't matter. He listen.
And he played out of his mind. Out of his mind. He played out of his mind, and he still had a turnover in the first half that cost them. You could say cost them. You
killed
them because they had all the momentum. They had all the momentum, and then you gave it right back to them.
Yeah. How many teams have been able to take away Saquon this year?
Well, none, probably. But none have Chris Jones. None have Chris Jones. None have Steve Spagnuolo on the calling defensive plays. None of them. You're giving them 2 weeks to prepare what is arguably the best coaching staff in the NFL, top to bottom, all the way around. Probably their fucking assistant special teams fucking coordinator. The guy who cleans the balls is probably better than everyone else's ball cleaner. So imagine how good that happened.
Steve, right? No.
Steve, whatever the fuck you want.
Clip that shit. Steve Spagnuolo will make it to the Hall of Fame like Dick LeBeau. Like Dick LeBeau with the Steelers. That's how good Spags is. He is Dick LeBeau, part droit. That's how good he is.
So here's the thing, right? We're only talking about the Chiefs defense versus the Eagles offense. And there it is. The Eagles defense is no joke, bro.
I'm sorry. For me, when I watch this game on Sunday, the Chiefs the Redskins, I felt made more mistakes than them causing those mistakes. I'm sorry. The turnovers there, like I feel like some of those weren't forced. I feel like it was just a team that wasn't ready to be there and made those mistakes. Their defense is great, yada yada yada. It's Patrick Mahomes, man. I'm sorry. Like Tom Brady, he was phenomenal. That Giants defense beat him. Guess who was the coordinator of that defense? Steve Spagnuolo. Okay, so I'd rather have Spags and the Chiefs defense than fucking Jalen Carter and the Eagles defense. That's my opinion. And I'd rather have Mahomes against that defense than I would rather have Jalen Hurts against and Saquon against Chris Jones.
Also, Carter's gonna go up against 2 All-Pro linemen.
Damn right.
Reed Humphrey and
All-Pros.
Joe Thuney, I think is it the center and guard.
I love the 2 rookies in the defensive backfield for Philly. I love Cooper.
Those white boys.
Cooper and
Cooper DeJean.
Blankenship is a safety, but
yeah, no.
By the way, shout out to Jalen Carter because remember when we were leading up to his draft, everyone said, which is why he dropped. And there was a big rumor that he was lazy.
Yep.
Remember, and everyone said
no. They said he killed people.
Yeah, that was
no.
he.
Well, no.
But
But also,
scene.
besides that, there were people that said that he was lazy.
Besides
the murder,
killing people, Ryan.
You can light a fire under somebody. It was because it came out that they said he murdered a couple of people.
No,
that's why he fell in the draft. If you
murder someone, you're not falling still in the fucking top 12. No, a lot of people said that he was lazy. That was a thing that you saw it.
That's the narrative I remember that Rafa.
Yes.
We all know the Georgia.
I remember the murdering narrative.
I remember the murdering narrative.
I know. I remember.
Lewis killed somebody too, and he's fucking the GOAT.
Yeah,
so.
he is the GOAT. But
I also agree with Eddie and Rafa on this game, though. If you look on paper, technically, the Chiefs should have no chance. But
100%.
if you just know who is running the team that the Chiefs have, there's a reason they're so middle of the stack paper-wise, because they just unfortunately know how to win every game they're in, regardless of the situation.
Oh yeah, I completely understand how good the Chiefs are. I'm not discounting that at all. I'm just taking the opposite stance is really all it is. And I'm sticking to my guns and saying that I think the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl. But I would not by any stretch of the imagination be surprised to see the Chiefs win. And if they do win, Kelsey's done. Like, he's retiring on the spot. He is not coming back. I would honestly be surprised if he played another year, regardless whether they won or not.
I agree.
I agree with that. And I'll tell you something real quick on this game. Nobody should be shocked if either team wins. Like, nobody should be shocked. If the Eagles win and they win by 10, nobody should be shocked that the Eagles won by 10. It's like if the Chiefs came out and they won by 10, nobody should be shocked. At either which way this game goes, there shouldn't be any shock, because the Eagles, like anybody just said, the Eagles roster is completely stacked top to bottom. Offense, defense, fucking offense line, defense everywhere. And the Chiefs just have fucking Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Chris Jones and Spags. So it's like either which way the game goes, it's not like, oh my God. Like, well, we didn't see that coming. No, you could. Like, there should be no shock here.
An efficient Eagles offense is what is needed for them to get the win. And I mean, that's kind of obvious, right? But like, to really kind of drill it home, is they need to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. If they have methodical drives where they just kind of eat up the field and have methodical drives that take away that clock from Patrick Mahomes and that offense, they'll be better off to keep him off the field. And I think with the running game that they have, it's possible that they can do that. It's certainly possible for them to put together a methodical drive that keeps Patrick Mahomes off the field. But you also have to account for the explosive play, which hasn't really been there for the Chiefs this year. They thought that Worthy was going to be that guy, and he couldn't be that guy because he had to fill in for Hollywood Brown, who got hurt. So they didn't really have like the true, like, over the top speedster explosive plays. Their explosive plays have been more Travis Kelce catching the ball and running for 25 yards when he seriously can, or Worthy getting loose off of a handoff or a speed sweep or something like that. I think if they can limit those plays, I think they would be in really, really good shape, which is why I feel like the Eagles have the DBs that can limit those plays, and their defensive front can string it out so that Hunt and Pacheco aren't just running rampant. But it's going to be tough regardless. It's certainly going to be tough either way.
These are the two best offensive lines that you're going to see in the league.
Yeah,
pretty much, right? These are the two best offensive lines, and it's probably like 1 and 3 or 4 as the best defensive lines. So I think you're in for fucking a treat no matter what.